Good morning, Justin. Sorry, I'm arriving late. I was making my Turkish coffee.
You're 1 minute late, a
Yeah.
whopping 1 minute late. And it's so I slept in. I didn't wake up till 7:30 Eastern time today. Which, by the way, I got that shirt on. You commented on before.
Oh yeah, that's pimp. I like that. Yeah,
I
you wore that somewhere.
I wore it on the cruise.
Yeah, on the cruise. That's right.
And you saw a picture of it that my wife posted, or maybe I posted, whatever. Anyway, so Del Mar went pretty late last night, as you know, and then my wife and I watched TV for a little bit. So long story short, I didn't handicap today's Del Mar card yet because I normally do that the night before, and it just was too late. And I slept till 7:30 this morning, which is the latest I have slept, and I don't know how long. So what I haven't looked at Del Mar, but I did look at Ellis and Saratoga, and I know you looked at Ellis.
Yeah, I had a couple
two nights ago. So you should be one of this. But I wondered if we could talk about something different just to start. And
yeah, go ahead, because I have something to talk about different too. Maybe it's the same thing.
Is it the Olympics opening ceremony?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so to be fair, I did not watch the entire opening ceremonies. I watched a pretty good chunk of it.
Yeah.
And I saw the part that people are talking about today. And this is my thought on it. We didn't really learn anything that we didn't already know about with the way the world is going and things like that. So to me, there's really not that much to talk about. The only thing that might be a little bit surprising to me is that the boldness, the blatant slap in the face to Christianity. I mean, I'm not even I wouldn't call myself, a devout Christian. I don't know what you and I haven't talked much about religion. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about things of that nature. I have some opinions and thoughts that are, confusing to myself, if I'm being completely honest. But the blatant slap, like the first thought I had is, can you imagine the outrage if like Islam was mocked in that way? And you're going to have people in this country, and there's one person I'm thinking of specifically who I won't name, who I know will say, oh, it was art and it was beautiful, it was wonderful, and it's like you just have to kind of roll your eyes and say,
it was none of those things.
You just roll your eyes and say, look, I mean, there are people in this world who are always going to side with the group that is perceived to be weaker or not in a position of strength, and you're going to side against the team that is perceived to be stronger. And I think globally, it's white people, Christians, they're sort of viewed as being in a position of strength. So you're always going to have that group of people that are against that just because of the whole strength versus weakness dynamic. But putting all that aside, it's just so gross. I mean, the Olympic opening ceremony, like to have what we saw there, like the Last Supper being mocked and like transgender performers, like it's just so dumb.
It's so bad, Justin. As you know, we're a pretty religious family. Our friend Rich Nilsson's religious, and I think Frank's ordained minister.
And Steve DeCaspers is he's been open about it. I know he's a man of faith as well.
So, and you see our silks at the track,
Yeah.
And taking a religion aside, Christianity, it's a culture. It's about family. It's about tradition. And it's about God. And to mock the Last Supper like that, what were you looking to gain except a reaction, a negative reaction? I think they want to just piss people off, which, yeah, I'm not happy about it at all. But I think they're making they're making a fool of themselves. And I made a post on Facebook. I said, this Olympics is probably going to have the lowest ratings in history. That could be a number of other factors, but I think definitely now they're going to tune out a lot of people. And
Yeah.
it was uh, it was just gross, pathetic. Paris. I was talking to some other friends privately. I don't know how many French people are on here or of French descent, but you know, it's just they're weak. They let migrants infiltrate their country. Paris is a shithole.
Hmm.
Uh, it's very secular. Um, Pedophiles, transvestites. Look, the whole thing was just a joke and bad taste, and I'm not surprised. That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Paris a couple times. It's
You've
a
been there a couple of times.
Yeah, I have. It's an absolutely beautiful city.
Okay,
It's
never been there.
it's really really nice. However, the last time that I went, which it's been 5 years, um, I did notice that it seemed to be perhaps not as clean and orderly as it had been before. My understanding is that there are many places in Europe where they've sort of they've opened the borders and what they're trying to what the globalists, and we've talked about this before, and we don't want to derail the conversation too much off of horses. That's why we're here. But if you and I were sitting around a contest room right now, this is what we'd be talking about.
Right.
So um, it's very obvious to me what's going on, and that is there are very rich, powerful people in this world that want to effectively eliminate borders. They want to eliminate the concept of nationalism. They want to create one world. And it'd be one thing if I thought their motives for that were pure and that they genuinely wanted to help people, but that's not what the motives are. The motives are to make sure that the Western world is competing, by as close to the same rules as China as everybody else. And there's more to it than that. I'm totally oversimplifying it, but the existence of borders and of different cultures that leads to things that I think prevent business from going the way that it does in many respects. It prevents other things too. But the concept of the individual and of the family and of faith and of nationalism, those things are in the way of the globalists achieving what they want to achieve, which is a world where they don't have to worry about their stuff being taken by billions of people around the world who are revolting because they can't afford food or have a roof over their heads. And you have to break down and eliminate the concept of the different societies that are within our global society. And America is, I think, front and center of that. And they're seeking to destroy, I mean, the individual, the family, everything. I mean, there are people who actually believe that children belong to the community, not to the families.
Oh, and that's scary. The law in California that was just passed about, not to cut you off, but children, school kids, if they want to change their sex and get on puberty blockers, the parents don't have to be notified. That's something that Gavin Newsom just passed. And that's one of the reasons why Elon Musk is moving SpaceX and Twitter out of California and into Texas. But go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm pretty much wrapped up. I think I just
No, I know look.
That's the recurring thought that I have, which I've expressed here on this show, on your channel before, is that I think that these forces are so powerful that I don't think that they're going to lose. I just don't. That's why I don't think Trump will ever take office again.
God, I hope you're wrong.
And
oh man,
but here's the thing: even if he does win the election and then manage to take office, I think that delays where we're headed. That's where we're headed. We're headed towards a world where, borders that, sure, maybe they'll still exist. Maybe there'll always be a United States of America, but we're going to see a globalist just a global world. We're going to see a global world, whether that means
So
one
a
world.
one world currency, a
Well,
one big like leader, and maybe we have that now behind the closed doors.
and right, and I don't see how that. I don't see how the globalists are stopped. I don't know, because there's the people who care, the people who would want to stop it, people like me and you. I don't think we have the fire in the belly that the leftist globalists have. The people who who would set, like, the people who would cheer, who I know did cheer last night's opening ceremonies, the people who are for Hamas, or they'd say that for the Palestinians, or
Man, burning the flag, the American flag.
the people who aren't really mad about open borders, even though they might say the right things, but the reality is they want tons of poor people who are illiterate in their own languages to come to America. Those kinds of people, I don't think they're going to ever reverse course. I don't see the nationalist right movement being able to turn the tide there, and that's where this world is headed.
I just think, and again, we're not against immigration. My grandparents were immigrants,
Well,
from
all of
Serbia.
we all were from immigrants,
And but they came. My grandfather was a crane operator in South Chicago. My grandmother, worked at a hotel, and then they opened up their own business, a little store, deli, and sold liquor and some other stuff. But actually, my dad worked there as a kid growing up. But it's hard for people from Eastern Europe or some other places to come here because we have a vast ocean. I hear an echo.
I just clicked the wrong button. I had our show streaming on the microphone, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. So we have a vast ocean that a lot of people have to cross to get here. I think that immigration needs to be legal, and it shouldn't be just one demographic, because we have a land border. I mean, we need to bring in people that want to be here, that aren't going to sell drugs, bring fentanyl here through China and have the cartels bring it up, child sex trafficking. People mock the film Sound of Freedom on the far left, but it's absolutely true. That happens every day. I don't know if you've seen the film, but
I haven't.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's a good movie. But anyway, look, back to Paris. We'll get into horse racing, but it was there was no class at all. It was not tastefully done. It was irresponsible. I didn't like it, and I think people are going to be tuning out. So I think
it didn't enrage me. It didn't surprise me. I was just like, they're just so pathetic. It
looks demonic. It looks secular, demonic, and they don't like the nuclear family.
There are a lot of people. In fact, the number of these people is growing as we, year over year, that they want to see change, whether it's political change, social change. The fire in their belly, the motivation is bitterness and resentment, usually at their own situation or what they've experienced. They've at some point in their life, they felt inferior or resentful or all of the above, and what motivates them politically and socially is that resentment. And I just think if you vote, or if you hope for change or push for change based on your own emotion, rather than when you go to the polls, you should be voting for either what's best for your family or what you think is best for society.
Right.
And for people to think that open borders and the crap we saw at Paris last night, and mutilating 12, 13-year-olds, whatever, if people think that's what's best for society, I would urge them to take a long look in the mirror and ask themselves why they're so bitter. Why are you so resentful? Who made you feel inferior? Why are you having such a trauma response? Because I think that's what liberalism is. It is a trauma response.
Justin, do you remember when Muhammad Ali came out with the torch and lit that torch? I forgot where it was.
It
I
was
mean,
Atlanta, I think it was Atlanta in 96, I think.
that was a cool moment. You know, why can't we get back to something like that?
Or 98.
And let's just leave it at. We got Philip here. He's like, let's talk horses. Philip, part of our show.
Right.
Part of our show, though, is what we do. And if you've been watching, you know that we
do
talk
right.
about
We've gone on for 15 minutes about world events and politics. He's 100% right. But this,
right.
like I said, this is what you and I would be talking about right now if we were at the OTB or wherever.
All right, so I wanted to lead into, there's an NHC contest today. It's free. It's on Horse Players. I don't spend a lot of time on those. I just kind of throw fire bombs out there, and maybe I'll have a couple opinions I like, then I'll pick, and the rest of them I'm not going to spend a lot of time. There's 15 races on the card. I'm assuming you're going to be in the contest. But
the free contest is today or tomorrow?
I thought that was today.
It might be. I don't know. Let me.
Let's take a peek here.
Right now. Free contest. You're right. It is today.
Yep, today. So anyway, I wanted to make that aware to people out there in the contest world. We like to talk about, horse contest play.
I'm gonna have to put my picks in and tell my wife to do the same. If I tell her that there's a contest today,
yeah, make sure Susie gets her picks in. You never know, she
might catch
win the whole damn thing.
She might catch lightning bottle. So Saratoga, I'm kind of monitoring Twitter as I do every morning when we do the show. I'm fairly confident that we're on the turf at Saratoga, but I have not seen scratches. I'm going to make one more look here to see if anything is out. I usually check Andy Serling. He's the first place I go.
Yeah.
To check for scratches at NYRA, and I don't see anything out yet. So I'm just going to assume that that all the horses that I'm going to want to talk about today are in. You want me to lead off with? I don't know if you hate.
No, you go ahead. This is Coffee with Dew. I'm drinking my coffee.
Right.
I mean, I'll add in a few plays here and there, but
race 9 is a mile and a 16th on the inner turf.
Are you okay? Are we at Saratoga?
We are Saratoga.
Okay, let me go there.
Saratoga race 9. It's for 3-year-olds. $80,000 optional claimer. Non-winners of one other than, and we don't have anyone in this field that is in for the tag. We've got a field of 12 plus a main track only, so we're going to have a full field, a pretty big field. And there's a horse in here that I have played before, and it has run occasional really good races. It has also run occasional less impressive races. And the one I'm talking about is number 11, Tiffery, Brendan Walsh, Tyler Gaffleone, and you're going to get an outside post here, and which is never optimal at all. But at a mile and a 16th on the inner at Saratoga, we do have a little bit of time to get over and try to find a way to save ground. This one won the turf debut at Kentucky Downs very impressively last September, and then ran in the stakes race, the Pilgrim, and was kind of up maybe closer to the pace than he wants to be. Came back at Gulfstream Park. Let's watch, if we can, the replay of the February 10th race at Gulfstream, a race won by In a Jam, and second in there was Trickery, who has won multiple stakes races in here. Tiffery is the 6 horse.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll watch the start.
Not good.
Little slow, not great, but doesn't panic. Rider doesn't push on. And for the next minute or so, we're not going to see much that we don't see right now. The horse trails the field. If you wanted to fast forward to save time a little bit, you could move forward in the race. That's probably right about there. I'm not sure if it jumped forward or not, but
I jumped forward a little bit. No, we're starting to move into the turn here, I think.
Yeah, so we're gonna go. We're gonna go into the turn and run around the turn and last. We're not in the frame just yet. You can see just trail in the field.
Coming
Didn't
up the
really
rail.
lose any ground, but here we go. What we're gonna see here is this one kind of get out from the rail and start running, and you'll see the finish. Now, keep in mind that's trickery on the lead there, and in a jam. And here comes Tiffery, who really close. I mean, that was a strong close.
Yep, it
Um,
was.
and it just showed ability. Okay, there was no trouble in the race except for the start, which was a little slowish. And the gallop out was strong, and that was the. Let me remind myself. I'm fairly certain that was the first start of the year. That wasn't before December, was it? When was that? Yeah, that was in February. So that was the first start of the 3-year-old.
I like a sandwich race, coming off a little bit of a layoff and then
Yeah.
a little layoff after that.
Yeah, true. And then missed the May 11th race. I did watch the replay. Really nothing to write home about. You can say, look, had some time off. Let's, if we can, watch the June 7th race. And we are the 10 horse in here. And there are several in this June 7th race that are in today's race as well.
We're the 10 hole.
We're wearing the 10 saddle towel. A little bit of a better break than we saw in the Gulfstream replay. And I'll spoiler alert for breaking from the outside post. He ends up going wide for pretty much the entire race. So we enter the clubhouse turn with 2 horses to the inside, probably the 3.5 or 4 path. Stays there towards the back of the pack between horses. You're not really advancing in a bold way, but continuing to kind of have that little forward progress there around the clubhouse turn. In my opinion, it's very hard for horses to have an impressive finish if after the first quarter of a mile of the race, they're still advancing. We're still back in the back of the field here. In fact, you can't even see our chiclet is just outside the 3.
I see us right there.
Yes. And we're going to be wide again going into the far turn, and now starts a little bit of a late advancement. Nothing too impressive, nothing too bold, but again, trying to advance while wide around both turns. Now we turn for home here. It makes that kind of really cuts the corner hard. It's going through traffic and passing horses. Okay, never a threat to win. Looks like gets into some little traffic trouble here. Re-engages. And is going to
kind of plotted his way up in there. I guess.
Yeah, passed the horse late. That was a sneaky good race.
What I want to know is the pace here. Are we going to get enough pace? It looks like the 7 is out. The 8 and the 9 are quick.
You're still showing the replay, just so you know.
Yeah.
And there's not much from the gallop out.
I was looking at my other screen.
Yeah.
But I'll take this off as soon as it recycles for me. There it goes.
So,
So yeah, I mean, there is some other speed in here on just to the inside. So hopefully we could tuck in, 9, 10, and the 8, 9, and 10 are all pretty quick.
And I just see the scratches are out. The 7 has scratched. So we're now 1 path closer to the rail. That was I can't tell if I had that horse projected because now that the scratch has happened, I can't see I wanted to know if the 7 was the horse I had initially projected to show speed. I got to remind myself here. No,
for some reason, I can't toggle down my.
You have to if you're on Formulator, you have to refresh, but you don't need to. I don't think.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, so I think Tyler on the 11 Tiffery is going to have a chance to save some ground. He's going to have to be, a good jockey in this spot to save some ground. But if we can avoid going super wide, I do think, the 8, Brad Cox, Ferran Giroux, that's West Hollywood. That one is going to show some early speed. Other than that, I really don't think there's a lot of pace in here. Maybe the 12 from the outside.
Oh,
Uh,
even the 12. Okay.
maybe the 12 tries to go
Yeah,
just
12 has a good 94 early time for him, and wasn't too far out of a race last time. That was a pretty good race in April, and debut won.
yeah, just to avoid
Yeah, it
losing
was going
too
to
much
take some
ground.
money, but there is speed in the 7 or 8, 9, 10, and then in 12. Uh, Wesley Ward has one making its American turf debut. They try to get it on a Canterbury of all places.
Yeah, and that's one of those horses that could easily jump up, run massive.
So I'm kind of interested in that one a
Yeah,
little bit too.
agreed.
Um, I would be against the Chad Brown in the 12 hole. Does he have more than one in here or just one?
I only saw one, but let me.
Because you know how Chad is. He sometimes he's got like 3 in every race. But no,
Yeah,
I think
oh,
that's
he
the
does
only
have
one.
two. He does. He has the two as
Oh, does
well.
he? He's got
Yeah,
the 2?
yeah. The maiden breaker from Monmouth with Irat, who
Oh,
is
there he
another
is.
one.
So
I had that one
that
flat.
one, it's not as fast on early time for him, but it did pretty much wire last time. So maybe it'll eject a little bit of pace from the inside. I would imagine it would have to go. Although the race 2 back was good, it might let the outside horses go and sit in the pocket. I like the 2 more than the 12 if I was going to throw in Chad Brown underneath. I'm just hoping we get an honest enough pace. Your horse, I'm wondering if it has that last gear where it can dig down deep. It looks like it, that race from Gulfstream was really nice.
Right, and now again, those the two horses that beat us there that day. In a Jam came out and won a synthetic stakes race at Gulfstream. Yes, it was in June, but before that had broken the maiden, and that In a Jam is a key race winner, a
Yep.
multiple key race winner, and Trickery, who was second, has won, I think it's 2 stakes races since that.
Oh, grade 1. Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, won the Grade 1 Belmont Derby,
Belmont
won the
Derby.
Grade
Okay.
2 on the Derby undercard at a bazillion to 1, and won this. I forgot won the Rushwick. So Trickery is a 3-time stakes winner, a 2-time graded stakes winner since that day, and I
Yep.
think Tiffery was was not as good as Trickery that day, but Tiffery showed I think is at that level. That in the Kentucky Downs win, and now we're getting 12-1. Look, if Tiffery was 5-2 in here, we wouldn't even be talking about it. But I think we're going to get a price.
We're definitely going to get a price, and I think there's going to be enough pace for us. And honestly, we should be able to. There's a long stretch for the first turn. We should be able to pick a spot and cover up somewhere in there, and make our run. If we run that race like we did at Gulfstream again, maybe it's going to come into its own. It had that was like a sandwich race. We had, whatever. That's normal for a 2-year-old to take the winter off and come back in the spring. But you did have the little layoff there. And then we had another little layoff from February to May. So
and Churchill turf surface. It seems like it's a little quirky. Some horses just don't like it. They've had some problems with it.
okay. Yeah, I
In
know.
fact,
Yeah.
they just canceled September turf racing at Churchill because they got to do some more work to the turf course. So it's obviously not, in perfect condition. So fine, maybe he didn't like it. And then we just watched the Saratoga replay, which wasn't setting the world on fire, but did show some interest late after being wide around both turns and advancing early. It's just a sneaky horse that I'm going to be using.
So underneath, I like the Chad Brown on the inside. Is there anybody else that you would throw in there?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to kind of wait for scratches before I made any more comments about the field, but
I'm gonna probably throw in Wesley Ward's horse.
I think so.
I'm kind of interested in that one.
Frankie Dettori. I think the 2 and the 3 are obvious. I did look at the 4 for a long time. Comes out of that same June 7th race, actually beat our horse in there, but I watched it and just didn't see any trouble at all.
Okay.
The 4 had an impressive maiden special weight win at Gulfstream in April. Finished the 2-year-old year with a strong race at Keeneland. The four is one that I think could run big, but there are so many in here. You know, what if the 8 just gets loose and wires them? Sometimes this is something I need to work on, I think. But if you get a 12-horse field, or today we're gonna have an 11-horse
Well,
field.
you have Flavian Pratt.
Yeah, on that 8, right?
Yep.
If there's like 5 or 6 horses that I think are respectable, I don't want to play a 1x5x5 trifecta. So I usually just end up betting my horse, in this case the 11, to win. And then what I'll probably do, and we can talk more about yesterday at some point, but just because we've been running second a lot. I mean, we've had a lot of seconds on this show.
Yeah, we our DMR plays were really good. We just came up a little short.
Better horses, yeah. So I might try to find 2 or 3 in here that could beat me and play an exacta underneath those horses, with the big bet being the 11 on top in race 9.
All right, we got it. So there it is, everybody. It's going to be a price, and it's one I'll be using in the contest. That's for sure. That's a good contest pick. Is that part of the contest? I would assume so. It is. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it in.
And then,
all right,
we can, if you want to talk about the Jim Dandy in the 10th, we can.
Look, we talked a little bit about it, and the other day, and when I pulled it up, I was thinking, you know, there's some classy horses in here. I was thinking we were going to get like 5-2 on Sierra Leone. It's even money here. And
the morning line. Wow.
The morning line.
Wow.
You know, and are we going to get the every other race out of Fierceness? Is the question.
Yeah. And the, you know, for which horse is this? I'm not saying this is the goal for any of them, but maybe is Fierceness going to run a better race in the Travers?
Right.
You know, you could wonder about that. I'll tell you who I think is maybe interesting. If I bet the race, which I probably won't, I might see if I can get the 4 Pony Express.
I could see that. It looks like the fastest horse, at least early, and
it's a mile and 1/8, and maybe they just, like, he gets out there, he runs, other horses try to run with him, they all have to stay kind of close, and you know, he just burns everybody up, because sometimes that happens.
Right.
A horse goes fast early, and then everything just fades. Nobody's got their kick left, and nobody closes. You know, that's probably what it would take for him. But the only other opinion I've got today at Saratoga is in the 12th, the finale, a state bred maiden special weight at a mile. And I'm looking at my phone on this. It's possible this has already been announced, but scratches are out. Irad Ortiz is named on 2 horses in here, and they are the 2 that I like.
Okay.
So they are the 6. She is all business.
She is all business.
And the 13, capital spending. If anybody knows right now, maybe they could add a comment and tell us
he's going to ride. That's going to be.
I'm trying to find that, and I'm not seeing anybody posting anything on Twitter that I can reference. Let me do what I always do. Andy Serling. I don't think we've got jockey changes yet, but he is on both. And I'm inclined to, because both horses, the 6 and the 13, well, the 13's stretching out from 3 sprints.
Yep.
Where she ran really well. I mean, there were all 3 were respectable efforts, and the 6 has been off since October. Now, I'm going to throw something out there, and I hope Frank Mastari doesn't hear me say this, but something I've noticed about New York state-bred turf races, several times in the last 4 or 5 years, I have noticed that the horse coming off the longest layoff wins the race. Now, why would that be? I don't have any idea. I can't really think of a handicapping angle. I normally I normally downgrade horses coming off of long layoffs, and I don't have the data to back this up, but I have noticed that, like in contest play, I'm like, how do you come up with that horse? It's got the longest layoff. That has happened more than a few times. Irad is named to ride here on a horse that got bet a little bit. I mean, the 2 previous starts for the 6 were 12-horse fields. The horse was single-digit odds both times. Got a slow start on debut, and then in the October race, the notes say was 4 wide around both turns. Not surprising because she broke from post 12 to 12. So
yeah, it looks like we're going to be on the 13 then.
Yeah, the 6 or the 13. Did they say who I?
Yeah. Jordan here has a comment about it. First call on the overnight.
I read first call on Abreu.
Abreu's, he trains at 13 capital spending.
Okay. Well, then if Jordan is correct, and I'm sure he is, then it would be the 13 would be the play. I think both make sense. I'll probably try to use. I like to know who's going to ride the 6, but I think the 13 is going to be probably my play in here. I was hoping it would be the 6. Honestly,
who is Pratt riding? He's riding the 10. He rode it last time. Okay. For
Barclay Tag, looks like, yeah. You know what? I didn't watch that replay, but I'm imagining from the notes, 5 4-path first turn, looks like a semi, something resembling a trip of death, up close, wide around the first turn, still holding on late, and the winner in there came from out of it. In fact, of the first 4 finishers, they were 6th, 8th, and 9th after a half mile. So, boy, that horse has got to be bet today. 5 to 1 on the morning line. Barclay Tag only 4 wins from 40 starts this year, but yeah, I'm not going to bet heavy in here at all. As I was handicapping, I kind of thought the 6 and the 13 were both interesting, and they both had Irad listed to ride.
Well, I would assume that Alvarado's going to ride the 6 because he's not in here, so he'll probably jump aboard that one now, and then we'll have Erad. I say Erad. You say Irad. Is it Irad or Erad?
I think it's Irad or Irad. I don't know.
Okay.
But that's all I had from Saratoga today. Really just Tiffery in the 9th race. And we get the 12 to 1 and that Tyler can save some ground. And then I'm going to pay attention to the 12th. The 11th, I tried to get a couple horses. I just couldn't get there. And then the first race on the card is a 2-year-old race that I several first-time starters, and there's some expensive babies. I just didn't want to try to guess in there. Just one play at Saratoga for me today.
All right, and what's the odds on the capital spending again?
Aren't they both double-digit odds? I think I already switched away. Let me look real quick.
Yeah, it's 12 to 1.
Yeah,
we might not get that, but that's okay.
Yeah, and then the 6.
So I'm going to post that one up. Capital spending 12 to 1, race 12, number 13. And then we could throw the 6 underneath and a couple others.
And the 10, and also the 10.
The 10. The 10. Yeah, because Pratt's on the 10. Right.
If I'm going to end up making a bet on this race, I'm going to have to watch a lot more replays. I didn't really handicap this race like I normally would because I wasn't that serious about my play on that race. So,
right.
And then, do you want to go to Ellis or?
Yeah, let's go. Let's take a peek at Ellis. I'm just going to put in my pick and my contest here. All right, I can do it later anyway. But all right, let's move over to Ellis.
Yeah. So,
what were you thinking right off the bat?
The first play I have at Ellis is in the 5th race.
All right.
And the 5th race is at a mile on the turf. It is an N2L. So. I know the 6 is scratched in here. I don't know if there are other scratches. And hold on, let me check my trusty iPhone weather app. And just
you always got to check the weather.
Henderson, Kentucky is nothing squirrely going on. There's no rain in the forecast, and I haven't seen anything today about races coming off the turf. This is again where I like that we can have people comment here. If anybody wouldn't mind commenting,
Let us know what the weather looks like.
Yeah, about anybody who lives out there or was paying attention to the weather forecast. That's another thing I normally do at night when I'm handicapping for the next day is I check the weather, but Del Mar just ended so late and I was exhausted, so I didn't do that. So
Yeah, I know, man. Damn, especially for you.
yeah. Yes, indeed. My Twitter feed, by the way, is also filled with more comments about the Olympics opening ceremony, which we will not discuss anymore because we
Hey, we yeah, we let everybody know our feelings on that.
You've still got my play from Saratoga up on the screen if you know
Oh,
that.
I do. I'll get it off. Do we like
Ready for Charlotte
Ready
Woodbine.
for Churl at
You
Woodbine
know what?
today?
I tell you
Okay.
what, I'm gonna shift gears immediately. I don't have Ready for Cheryl. I didn't check Woodbine either. Assuming Ready for Cheryl is going to be in a stakes race. Am I correct? Maybe someone could tell us where Ready for Cheryl is, because yes, Ready for Cheryl is in the Grade 3 Ontario Colleen Stakes, race 8. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to handicap that race. We'll have to come back to that.
Yeah. What time is that race?
Jesus, I didn't even look at Woodbine today. 4:47 Eastern.
Could be a live situation.
And we may have to be live a lot today.
8th race.
We're not going to talk about Del Mar on this show, so it's like
yeah, we could probably
maybe we come on the air before Del Mar. I don't know. I don't want to.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
All right, so then let's go back to Ellis. Sorry for confusing everybody there. Thank you for pointing that out, because if who was that, Jordan, who pointed that out?
Yeah.
If it hadn't been for Jordan, I would not have even looked at Woodbine today. Too much other stuff focused.
Yeah, just so you know, Justin, Mike said weather's good.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
Out in Kentucky.
Tomorrow is not so good. Okay, that's helpful. Race 5 at Ellis Park today, 1 mile, an allowance race for non-winners of 2 lifetime. I think the anyone who handicaps this race for a few minutes will know that the big favorite in here is going to be the 2, Hammerstein for Brian Lynch. This one almost won the Kitten's Joy, the Grade 3 Kitten's Joy at Gulfstream, lost to a horse named First World War, who I think has won twice since that win. Am I correct?
It's a cool name.
Just won once. Did win the Penn Mile, but was second in the American Derby. So,
oh yeah, strong horse.
First World War is a multiple graded stakes winner, really good racehorse. And Hammerstein ran a big race that day to almost beat First World War. And so that horse is going to get played, and it's totally understandable. But the 1, Fortune Seller, for trainer Brian Williamson, who I'm not that familiar with, gets Jareth Loveberry. This one gets a rail post. There is some other speed in here. And I think it's possible that Fortune Seller will not be on the lead. What I don't want to say I'm certain of, but what I'm reasonably confident of is that Fortune Seller should not get the trip of death, which he has gotten multiple times in his career.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Jeez.
It's pressed too wide, pressed too wide, too wide. And you see this horse being up close too wide, and we've talked about the trip of death so many times, but my personal opinion, an opinion that others agree with, is that when you're up close within a length of the leader on the outside in a turf route, you just can't relax, you don't have cover, and those horses they flatten out, hit a brick wall, and this horse has done just that multiple times throughout his career. My hope today is that with some of the other speed in here, what could really screw us is if one of these other fast horses goes, and then Loveberry finds himself kind of, on heels going into the clubhouse turn, and then tips out and ends up back in a trip of death. It should never happen. This 1 horse should be on the rail the entire race,
right,
until we get to the top of the stretch.
I think the 1, Justin, would be best served to switch tactics today instead of pressing and cover up. What do you think?
Well, what do you think? Do you mean go to the front and set?
No, I don't think. Listen, I think just break it clean, and there's a lot of speed on the outside, and it hasn't been working. You've been getting pressed and trip of deaths, and last time it got the lead, but it was it was hounded, and
yeah.
Well,
the win at Presque Isle in start number 3 the horse kind of ran off open and just was, they came to him and then he
And he opened
rebroke.
up again.
You're right. And they tried to do that in the grade 2 at Keeneland, but that was never happening. And then came back in another race at Keeneland. What happened? Got a trip of death from post 9. Gets the layoff. Comes back in May at Churchill. Trip of death. Comes back on June 7th at Churchill in a trip of death. Comes back on July 6th at ELLIS.
Hounded.
Too wide around the first turn, but it was leading. That's still not an optimal trip. You know what I mean? Like, and then so let's hope today this one either gets a clear lead and none of the other pace is out there, forcing him from the outside, or Jareth lets those horses clear and sits on the rail and stays on the effing rail and doesn't do that stupid move coming outside. And the next thing you know, this horse enters the clubhouse turn in like the 2 or 3 path. I mean, if that happens, that is a loser. If that will be a loser, we'll know it early.
Yeah, we got to switch tactics up with this horse today.
Yeah, just you got to avoid the trip of death. And if that happens, now the play here might be a 2-1 exacta, maybe a win bet on the 1 with an exacta 2-1, because I think the 2 is going to be very hard to beat. This is a serious racehorse, and it's getting first Lasix, and it is the first start since February. But Brian Lynch just won a race the other day. It was that horse that I gave out on the show at like 4-1 and won at like 4-5. I mean, Brian Lynch is not shabby at all with off the layoff. So I think the 2 is very respectable. It is going to run big. I just think the 1 can really add some value to your bet. So consider the 1.
Okay. One that I want to look at. Take a look at the 4. The reason why I bring it up, Chicago connections.
Mm-hmm.
Respect David Cohen a lot as a jockey, and Chris Block. This is a homebred, and the reason why I like this horse is, obviously it's bred for turf, and they try to get it on turf, but it won in debut. For Chris Block to send it here instead of running it at Hawthorne kind of tells me that this one's got a lot of talent, and he thinks this is a nice horse. And I think there is going to be plenty of speed in the race, like we talked about. And this one has a powerful showed a powerful late kick in that debut, and if it perks up on turf, which it should, and Chris Block is a good turf trainer, this is one at 12-1 I definitely want to have underneath on my ticket. So I will definitely have exactas, I'll probably do a 1-2-4, like $20 box for $120, and then I'll do some other stuff with some trifectas and stuff.
I need to check Kevin Kirstein's Twitter feed because he posts the ELLIS scratches the night before, and that horse is not a scratch. At least was not an early scratch.
You're talking about before?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So for him to ship this one down, David Cohen is percentage-wise a really good local jockey in Chicago, and he's been good at Oaklawn and rides a lot of good tough circuits. Strong rider, can hold a horse. He's strong enough where he can relax this horse and ask for its best. And if we do get a hot pace, this one could perk up a lot in its second race in its turf debut with Chris Block. So that's
you sold me. I'm 100% going to include that horse now, Steve.
Yeah, for him to ship it out, he could easily cherry pick a race at Hawthorne with this one, but he likes this horse. So
that's fantastic. And I know your family, by the way, I'm going to point something out real quick. We've got 233 people watching us right now. I watched some other, I checked the viewer count on some of the other Twitter, YouTube horse racing shows with talking heads like we are. We've got way more viewers than anybody else. I mean, I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back here, but dude, you've done a great job promoting your channel here and bringing people into the discussion. and we got 233 people watching us ramble on about horses right now.
Yeah, well, I bring on good guests, and I bring on good horse players that understand the game. Brought on, people that work for tracks, track announcers. I've brought in all kinds of different people, and we have different shows. Coffee with Dew is a huge success.
Huge success.
Everybody
It's
loves it.
bottled
Everybody,
water.
you wouldn't believe the texts that I get. Like, "Hey, are you having a coffee with Dew this morning?"
Yeah, and I
And
get them. And yeah, we also get the negative. If just
no,
a,
look, you have five. If we do 4 or 5 shows a week, and we're hitting 3 out of the 5 shows,
yeah, I know.
I mean, everybody that has been watching us knows what we've hit this whole week. So,
I know.
but yeah, I get a lot of positivity, positive comments.
Yeah,
The
so,
Oaklawn Capping Hour
yeah.
was really good with my brother, and then tomorrow morning, our second show of Sunday at Hawthorne with Emily Gullickson and Jim Miller.
Yeah, I'll be tuning in for that. And you guys did a great
And
job.
Philip didn't like our politics earlier, but he loves our show. Thanks
Yeah,
for
and we talked about politics too long, but we both had stuff to say. Should we go to race number? Anyway, the play in race 5 for me is let's try to get the 1 into the exacta, maybe even winning the race. You like
Yeah,
the
there it is
4,
again. The 1,
What's
the
that?
2, the 4. Yeah, I like the 4. We can't exclude the 2 on your horizontals or your verts. So I mean, it'd be hard pressed. But if it doesn't show up and you hit a trifecta with some other horses, you'll get paid bigly.
Exactly. The next opinion for me comes in race 7 at Ellis.
Okay.
This is a mile and 1/8. Non-winners one other than, and I just don't feel like this is that strong of a group. There is believe it or not, a grade 1 winner in this.
Oh, really?
Race. Yeah, the 5 Last Call, a grade 1 winner at Woodbine 2 years ago. She was a huge price that day. It was incredible.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah. And then the 6 Big Brass Bed coming in from Woodbine. That horse is also going to get some attention. It's understandable. Sherry DeVoe's got one in here that is legit. But
I like the Sherry DeVoe horse.
Well, it's right because you handicapped this race a couple nights back. The horse I'm going to play in here, and this is not going to be I'm not going to go bet a lot of money on this horse, but I have watched. I watched the replay for number 8.
Okay.
And I believe that's Umabashi or whatever. I don't listen to the audio when they play replays. So
Umeboshi, yeah.
Yeah, I never know how these horses' names are pronounced because I watch them in silent mode. But what I will say here is that the race 2 back was won by Stylish Sue, who was disqualified, but then came back and won her next race. She's a legit horse. The 8 ran a pretty decent race that day and has broken widest of all in 2 consecutive starts. I think there's a little bit of ability here. I'm not making a huge bet on this one, but I would just say let's watch the tote board on number 8, and if we're going to get that double-digit price, which I absolutely think that we will, this is one that could definitely hit the exacta, the trifecta. I'll probably have a moderate win bet, like an action win bet on it. Just for reference, I like the 1 in race 5 much more than I like the 8 here in race 7. But the 8 is one you don't want to dismiss just because has really had some wide posts. I mean, if we watch the replay of the last start, let me know if you can pull that up. The June 15th race. I think we're saddle towel number 15 in here.
Oh, hit the wrong one. Let me get back. There we go. Saddle towel 15. Yeah, wow.
5-2 favorites.
Let me get rid of
John
Dooley for you. I know
you're.
Turn that down for you.
Sometimes these replays, the race starts right away, and other times you got to wait to watch them fight with some horse. But we're the 15 horse, the outside post, breaks pretty well, pretty sharp break. Trying to save some ground here, did move over to the left there pretty quick, but still gets hung up wide, and is going to go into the turn in a wide position and stay there around the clubhouse turn. And it's just never optimal. Again, sort of that continuing to advance ever so slightly. Now you've only got one to the inside. And that's kind of the end of the interesting part of the replay. And the horse has lost a lot of ground at this point and is now out there wide and is going to be wide around the far turn also. But
did you watch the head on or the head on?
Yeah, I did. Okay. I'm going to be honest. This was not the kind of impressive effort you would. I mean, if the horse had the trip it's had so far and then made a move around the far turn, you start to say, wow, this one just ran out of steam. And that doesn't really happen here. It just sort of packs it in. You almost kind of have to draw a line through this race and say, look, it just wasn't the horse's day after that wide trip. It just backs up like a stone here.
Yeah, it was 8-1 that day. The race off the layoff was pretty good. Did get maybe a TOD in there. Yeah. And this one here, it went off at 8-1. Yeah, I don't know. I would scratch my head a little bit on this one and just draw a line through it.
That's what you have to do. And you can do that once in a while. If you do that, if you make too many excuses for a horse, you're going to end up, I'm guilty of doing that.
If it runs the race 2 back, you're looking good. So that one there, you're going to probably have a small wager on. You're not going to get too crazy, as you said on this one, or
I think what I'll probably do
horizontals
if this one drifts up to, we get the 12 to 15 to 18 to 1, I'll probably put just an action bet on the horse. Just because I've noticed this, and I think the horse is probably better than the tote board indicates. If on buyers, she did get a 73 for the first start off the layoff. Mm-hmm. She hadn't raced in 6 months or something when she made the 3-year-old debut in May. And that 73 buyer, clearly not among the top in the field, but it's not that much slower. And when you consider that may have needed the race, I think it's worthy of attention. So let's just see what the tote board says, and maybe we get the 8 home. And then I think you said you liked something in here, right?
Yeah, I like the 7. I wanted to, it is hard to get these replays, but I have it up on my advanced wagering site. And the 7 here is going to break out of the 3 hole. And I just want you to watch kind of what happens here during the trip. Let me turn the volume down a little bit. So where are we at?
You're the 5? Or the 3?
No, we are the 3 back here. It's hard to see for some reason right now. I don't know if that's my internet or if that's the replay.
This is the race where on the Lone Speed group text, I gave out the winner and the 3rd place finisher. Who were at prices of 23 to 1 and 14 to 1. And I didn't include Dreaming of Mo in 2nd. I included Dreaming of Mo in 3rd. My horses ran 1, 2, 3, 4 in here, and I cashed nothing, and I went into a state of depression. But anyway,
I'm gonna get blocked on the rail at some point here when I make a move. It looks like it's just running within itself. It's gonna gradually move up here. It's gonna have a little bit of trouble. This is the first race off of a small layoff. It's gonna have a little bit of trouble here, but it'll eventually get through and gallop out good. But this is kind of an uncomfortable spot right now. Nowhere to really go. And that's going to switch to the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just going to run really well to the wire, in my opinion. And then it's going to show a good gallop out here. And second off the small little layoff, I'm kind of interested in this runner today for a trainer that I know that you like. Yeah. And I know Frank likes this. I think he likes this jock a little bit. But I thought that was a decent little sneaky effort and worth a play at at least underneath or exact the box with your horse, because your horse is going to be a pretty good price, I think, today.
Yeah, I think you're.
It's 15-1, and mine. I don't know if maybe I'll get. Maybe it'll be 9-2. Maybe it'll be an overlay, but I don't know. I kind of like Sherry DeVoe's horse here in this race.
I think your horse is going to get bet because I
Is it?
think. Yes, I absolutely do. I think everything you said is 100% correct. I think that's great handicapping. I think your horse is going to get bet. I don't know about being favored, but your horse is very live, and I would say is among the more likely winners of the race for sure.
All right. So what we'll do in Ellis Park Race 7, what I'm going to do, we'll do a 7-8 exact box and bet. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll bet tries, and I'm sure you'll have a win bet on your horse.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll just put that in real quick there. Boom. All right. So that's what I'm going to do, 7-8 box, and maybe I'll go 7-8, 7-8 something else with 3 others and a trifecta too. I don't know. We'll see. And again, it won't be $1 or 50 cents. I'll do like $5 at least, on the trifecta.
Yeah. And then my final play at Ellis is in the
we got another one. Good. I didn't look at the final
race, race number 9,
Race
an
9.
N2L. Nominers 2 lifetime at a mile on the turf. And before I talk about this one, I'm going to do what I've been doing all morning and check
Scratches.
Kevin Kirstein's. Well, I checked before. My horses were not scratched the last time I looked for this race, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, we don't have any more news about scratches in here, I don't think. And I know that my horse was not scratched as of last night. So, okay. So in race 9, there are 2 horses that are going to get the most action. They are the 10 Pharaoh's Wine, who I think on raw ability is the best horse in the race. Also the 4, another for Brian Lynch. This one pulling the rare 4 sprints to a route move, which kind of has. We'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, the 4 and the 10 are the ones that are going to get bet, and it's completely understandable as to why. The horse that got my attention is a horse I'm familiar with because she broke her maiden at Kentucky Downs last year by 9 1/4 lengths. Steve-O, can we go to the replay of number 2, Smooth Waves, who's breaking from the rail today because the 1 is scratched. And let's watch that September 10th race.
At Kentucky Downs. Okay.
If we can. She is the 9 horse in this.
And that's interesting that you can watch Kentucky Downs, but none of the other.
It's not Churchill Downs.
Uh-huh. And we're number
9.
They're off.
And there she goes.
Yep, I see her on the outside. The white blinkers. Looks okay. Now the 6 is rushing up. We're just staying in our little spot there.
And this is it. Some people might say, "Oh, it looks like we're in a trip of death position." I'm not sure the trip of death applies at Kentucky Downs. I'm not saying it doesn't.
Kentucky Downs is its own deal.
Yeah, because it's up and down and it's weird.
I don't even know. This is considered a 1 turn, 1.5 turn. I don't even know what.
Yeah, I know it's like one big turn.
Yeah.
I love Kentucky Downs, but
Kentucky Downs is cool because when they come into the stretch, you're like, it looks like they curve again towards the wire. All right, where are we at here? We're
in the trip of death position.
Yeah, we're right here on the outside.
Yeah. And again, Kentucky Downs is quirky. I mean, some horses love it, some hate it.
Right.
But I just want you to watch how this horse finishes.
46.06 was the half.
And he went 46 flat for the half, and it may have been, I can't
Yeah.
remember who it was, but she just takes off.
Wow, look at this. Jeez. And that plays like we talked about it, like a mile and a 16th, you know, when you have a flat mile. Just add a 16th to all those races over there.
Now, the 6, who's the other horse we were running with early, ends up finishing a clear second in here. So we may have had a little bit of a
well, you won by
bias
9.
over speed.
So.
I mean, you know, in fact, I'm going to remind myself what that horse, and the horse that ran on for second. By the way, it was a key race. We had, just one next stop winner, but that runner-up had prior had run second to Austere, who's a stakes winner, but hasn't really done anything yet since that day. Anyway, so we saw the maiden breaker, came back in the Jessamine at Keeneland, and got bet heavily that day. I'm talking about the 2 smooth waves in the next start. Split the field against losing, in fact, to Pharaoh's Wine, who's in here again today, and then came back in an allowance race as the favorite at Keeneland. Trip of death, did no running, gets a long layoff, comes back in the June 21st race at Churchill Downs, again loses to Pharaoh's Wine, who ran by far the best race that day. You can't pull up the replay here because it's a Churchill race unless you want to show it. But in fact, if you can pull up that race, Churchill,
I could get it. What date? That's June 21st.
June 21st, race 8.
All right,
And
June 21st, race 8.
There we'll get to watch 3 of today's contenders. Although Pendulum, let me see if Pendulum is one of the ones that is scratched. Yes, Pendulum is not in. So really, in this replay you're about to show, we're going to watch Pharaoh's Wine and we're going to watch Smooth Waves.
Who's who here?
That's what I was trying to remind myself of. You might want to hit. Can you hit pause?
Yeah, we'll wait till we figure it
so
out here.
Pharaoh's Wine. Hold on, let me pull up the
Smooth Way 3-hole.
Pharaoh's Wine is the 9, who's going to end up finishing second.
Okay.
The winner is the 7, Styler Sue, who goes wire to wire. Smooth Waves breaks from post 3, which may or may not make her the 3. I was anyway. So
it is a 3. It is a 3. Yeah.
Okay. So Pharaoh's Wine is the 9.
Okay, this Styler Sue's in the lead. You said here, and then there's
What's wrong with the video feed? Is that your feed or me?
I think everybody can see it. It must be you.
It's probably me. It's really choppy, but it's probably me. Anyway,
if anybody's having a hard time seeing the replay, let us know.
It's fine. It was me. Okay, so Smooth Waves is the 3 down on the rail, getting an absolutely perfect trip. Pharaoh's Wine is to the outside. Had just done some advancing around the clubhouse turn, and is not getting a perfect trip at all. And will continue to not get a perfect trip throughout the remainder of the race.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think the 3. I think we're sitting okay here.
The 3's perfect, and what you're gonna come away with here in a minute is, wow, the 3 really had no excuse, and you'd be correct, and that the 9 had every excuse. But here is my, and I'll kind of say this as we're watching the replay, and the 9 makes her move.
Mm-hmm.
Pharaoh's Wine never seems to get there. She has not reached money burner status.
Okay.
I guess she's not favored a lot, but she always looks set up to win and then just doesn't.
Looks like she should just blow right by.
Right. And then she doesn't. And whereas the 3 just flattened out after getting an absolutely perfect trip. But the 3 was making her first start in quite some time. Pharaoh's Wine's been in training and been racing. And just couldn't get by this loose leader. And the 3 didn't stop. I mean, she
ran good. Ran on for 4th and
so
needed a race, you know.
That's what I think you have to say. And today, Smooth Waves is breaking from the rail because the 1 is out. Didn't I just say that? The 1 is out. And so I think we're going to get a reasonable trip, second off the layoff, for a horse that has in the past run well enough to, I think, run well enough to win this race. Pharaoh's Wine is the more accomplished horse, but that, was coming into that race that we just watched at Churchill, making her third start of the year, her first start out of stakes company, stays in the allowance ranks, but again, is going to be in the 10 hole again, or, going to be wide, has been wide all year. And
Yeah, that could be an issue.
And then we have the four who we mentioned, Moonspun for Brian Lynch, who's making her first start around 2 turns after running very, very well against good company sprinting. My question there is, why haven't they run this horse long yet, the 4? You would have thought, just the way that, I guess since she won her second start sprinting and was second, I guess I can understand it, but I'm a little surprised that they hadn't routed this 4 horse before.
They never routed any of the siblings either. Very strange.
So that's how I landed on the 2. Smooth Waves, breaking from the rail, should get a good trip, is a repeat offender when it comes to trips of death.
Mm-hmm.
A multiple offender. Look, you're going back from pressed winner, prompted too wide, prompted. That's what this horse always does. And if I'm correct, that trips of death are actually a bad thing, and I believe I am correct, then, and if I'm correct, this one may have needed the last race, you could be looking at a big forward move for the 2 here today.
Yeah, I like this pick. This is one I'll definitely be playing. And underneath we talked about a couple. Do we get bold and throw? We could throw the outside horse out if we want to get bold. The Lynch runner, you're right about that. It's like nothing on the page suggests that it can go long. It's hard spun out of a Malibu Moon. You would think it could, but it's got to show us it could go 2 turns, and not only 2 turns, but this is a mile. It's a mile. Okay, that was a mile and 16th.
No, normally I have no problem playing horses that are going from a sprint to a round. I've won a lot of bets doing that. Horses can stretch out. They do it. Good horses can do it. And this horse is no exception. This horse looks like a good horse. I'm talking about the 4 here, Moonspun, could run big. But what I think I'm going to do is play a win bet on the 2, and then 3 other horses in here that are going to be prices that I think are also a little sneaky. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but the 5, 6, and 7, the 6 is Hawthorne Shipper. The 5 is a first turf for a horse that's been bet in all 3 starts. So let's go in order. The 5, Low Country Magic, has been bet in, not big fields, but has been bet all 3 times, hasn't disgraced herself. First turf, the mare, Marsh Harbor, ran on turf but never did anything. The mare is out of a Giants Causeway.
It had some problems, they retired it early.
Yeah. The 6, Off the Lamb, has run really well in 2.
I know.
Go ahead.
I know this horse at Oaklawn, and I had a trip note and debut. I thought it ran a sneaky good / bad race that day. They took the hood off it for some reason in the second start. I actually played it in that second start. I thought it would improve. It ran terrible that day. But it's interesting. They brought it back here, and on turf, and it's run 2 bang out races. Now it's going to have to run a little bit quicker, but it's definitely an interesting runner at 15-1, and you have Christian Torres in the irons.
Mm-hmm. So I think the 5 and the 6 are both the horses that I think could step up, and the 7 comes out of that Whiskey Decision race. Before that, ran in a key race at Gulfstream.
Yeah, company lines, yeah.
Before that, won a race at Keeneland, ran well in the Kentucky Downs race, and then hooked up with Auster, who we just talked about here before. I think the 7 is also, wouldn't surprise me. So what I'm probably going to do is play the 2, and then I'm going to try to catch lightning in the bottle twice in the same race. And look, the 4 and the 10 here are very possibly going to run 1-2. Okay, I'm not saying I don't like the 4 or the 10. I just think the 10 wide post never seems to get there. And then the 4, why are they just now stretching it out? So 2 over the 5, 6, 7. That's
Yeah.
an attempt to try to really cash a nice ticket.
What I'm going to do, let me update this a little bit. So I'm going to include the 8 too. So 5, 6, 7. I'm going to throw the 8 in there on my try underneath. So what I'm going to do, Justin, I'm going to have your horse on top. It's going to cost me $60. I'm going to do 2 over the 5, 6, 7, 8 for $5 on a trifecta. And I'm going to do some exactas with some of these and a win bet.
So I have a note on that 8 who, I mean, I'm kind of talking out of both sides of the mouth again. That race 2 back at Turfway produced 4 next out winners, including the 8.
Yeah, I think this one it deserves another shot routing on turf. The sprint debut, just, you know.
And the horse is going to be, I think, the early pace setter. And, you know, that we don't know if that 4 is going to go to the front or not. But ultimately, I just like the 2 better than the 8. But I looked at the 8 for a long
No,
time.
I do. I love the 2. I love the 2. I love your pick there and your analysis. I'm just going to throw the 8 underneath, you know.
Yeah, I think I would not talk you off using that 8 at all.
Yeah. That's awesome stuff, man.
That's all I've got for Ellis today. And we didn't get into Woodbine, we didn't get into Del Mar. You know, if you're open to coming back on later for a little bit, maybe we do like a 30-minute thing before Del Mar kicks off, and we catch that Woodbine Stakes race with
yeah, we can come on. I got a real estate client I got to putz around with at about 5 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah, and I gotta be a parent.
So
today.
we'll figure something either before or after, as far as that goes. And DeCasper says, "I'm seeing fine." 10 minutes ago.
He was. That's when I had a problem watching that Churchill video.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what he was saying. Okay, sorry, Steve. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm glad DeCasper's is watching.
Of course he's watching, man. He's a regular guest.
He is.
Did you? Well, you saw him on our Sunday at Hawthorne.
Yeah, I know he's a guest. Well,
he's been on. He's been on.
Yeah.
No, we don't have a like a set show called Stevie D and Steve O. But
what I meant to say was I didn't know he watched Coffee with Dew. I didn't know.
Oh yeah. Oh, everybody. Dylan. I'm sure
Dylan,
Frank's watching.
What about Dylan's dickhead?
Marco's watching.
Night? What about Dylan's dickhead comment to me last night when I made a comment about how many.
Yeah. What did he say? The honeymoon is over or something like that?
He said honeymoon is over. Well, back to reality.
Or back to reality, yeah.
Well, because I mean, my horses have run second very often.
And they ran a bang out race. You know, hey, listen, when you did the analysis on the nightcap at Del Mar, look, our whole thing was, let's break clean from the 11. Let's get the front and see if we can wire. And we had it, you know, that's what we almost did. I mean, we got the front, we got the trip we wanted. The horse ran huge, and you know, we were just second best.
We played we handicapped 4 races yesterday. Our top pick in Del Mar, they ran second in both, and the horses that beat us both times were horses that we had underneath in exactas.
Right.
I actually I hit both exactas, and I think many of our viewers did too.
Right.
And then at Saratoga, we gave out 2 horses in that one race. Both were prices. I ended up siding with the bigger price, but the other one ran second to that horse that might be Secretariat, that winner, that 11 horse, that first time starter.
Man, that was that awesome or what?
That horse is incredible.
Now, after saying that though, I did put a trip note on one of your horses in there. We had a rough go at it.
It was that 3 horse. John Velasquez was on that. Just
right. That's it.
That was the other. And then the other horse in there, the horse was just ranked the whole time. So look, we didn't give out any on top winners, but we did give out 3 horses that ran second at like 8 to 1 price, 8 to 10 to 1 price. So, you know, a loser is a loser. Okay. This is about winning. I get it. But I think we were on the right track all day yesterday. And I think we handicapped really well. We just didn't cash anything, except, again, I did cash 2 exactas in the Del Mar race.
Yeah, we got out of there alive, hit a couple of, I think that one exacta paid like $40-something. I mean,
yeah, it was, but look, we need to do better. People expect us to do better. We expect ourselves to do better and hit winners. Today, I'm going to be honest, I'm not just backtracking here. The horses we've given out, their prices, and we're going to need some good luck, and we're going to need to run some unexpected races. But we just got to be right once.
Well, listen, Justin, we're not going to come out here and give the public, 6-5 favorites. That's not our idea of, giving you some crazy good insight, on a horse. I mean, you guys can puzzle that and put that together. You guys know who's going to be the favorite, and people are always going to talk about that horse. We want to give you something else to think about, include, and add into your exotics.
By the way, Saratoga's finale, Manny Franco replaces Irad Ortiz on that 6 horse that I like, even though Irad is on.
Oh yeah, our guy Mike actually made a post about it here, or he chatted it up.
There you go.
Yep,
Thanks,
there
Mike.
it is.
Yeah, and I like the 13 there. So yeah, listen, we're giving out some prices again today, and we're gonna hopefully connect. Look, we got Tiffery, the 11 and the 9th at Saratoga. I like Irad on the 13 in the finale at Saratoga, and then Ellis Park. I think we started with race 5.
5, 7, and 9.
Yeah, we're on them.
So we did 5 races.
Yeah,
we touched on the Jim Dandy. I mean, honestly, it's kind of a which way you want to go type thing. I do like your long shot in there, though. That it could be the next superstar. Maybe some of these other guys are tired, or the campaign's been too grueling. You got a new, fresh, fast. It's the fastest horse early, and it's a John Sadler shipper that will have the lead, and maybe they let it go.
Yeah, I'm clicking on that right now because we're Sierra. How about Sierra Leone being even money on? I mean, that's another horse. He just I'm not knocking the horse. Look, I mean, I'm not knocking, but he's solid, and he was maybe could have won the Kentucky Derby. You could say should have won. You could also say Forever Young should have won it. And then in the Belmont, Dornock. How good has Dornock become? So
I poo-poo Dornock. I gotta tip my cap to Dornock and apologize to the connections of Dornock.
Yeah, I mean, I was completely wrong on that horse. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Bluegrass Cat or
Cat Thief or
Birdstone, who was like all the rage, and then everybody forgot about it. Then all of a sudden he starts winning races again. But Pony Express in the Jim Dandy, shipping in here, gets Rosario. I mean, you're going to have to step up and coming up against some much more experienced, much more seasoned horses.
His stablemate came back and won next time out for Sadler as well, and indispensable.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, it's it ran a good number. We'll see if it can outbreak Fierceness and keep going. I would imagine it would. Fierceness is probably going to have to run like it did in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, where it's going to rate behind a horse like Pony Express.
Don't talk to me about the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I remember distinctly. This is back when I was walking a lot, and I was on the phone with Steve DeCaspers and Frank Mustari. This is about a week before the Breeders' Cup, and I said, "You know what horse is interesting in the Juvenile? Fierceness." And then Irad chose a different horse. Velasquez comes on, and I'm like, you know what? Irad's not jumping off the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner, and I'm an idiot. This is the bottom line. I will never, ever, ever, ever do that again.
Yeah, you can't. You can't overthink it. These guys make wrong moves a lot of times. They pick the wrong horse.
Yeah. So
I want to look at one more race here. I forgot about this, but the Sprint Stake here, the Vanderbilt. I think we're first of all, Baby Yoda. This horse is probably going to get played. It's weird. Like, this horse always runs big at Saratoga, but it runs subpar races before Saratoga. And then when Saratoga comes around, they're like, this horse is done. And then it blows up again. So it just loves the track. But I want to, Skelly, oh my God, it's 6-5. I thought I was going to get a price on this horse.
Well, we have no idea what price we're going to get.
Forget it. When I first looked at this race, I thought I was going to have, I thought the odds would be much higher on the morning line for Skelly, coming off of a loss in a $260,000 stake at Churchill. I see it 6-5. I really don't want to play Skelly at 6-5, but I think Skelly is going to run a much better race and is the most likely winner. But
Well,
okay, I don't want to touch on this race anymore then after seeing that morning line.
I don't know who would possibly run with Skelly early. I just don't.
I love Skelly. Man, watching him at Oakland. We actually watched the race live. But I think the Caspers was on with us. It was the race 2 back, the Lake Hamilton. It broke back. You can't tell in the running lines, but it broke kind of flat-footed, and it just won in hand easy. So I could see why it was a huge favorite last time and lost. I don't know if there's something going on with the horse, maybe, or maybe it just didn't like Churchill, but I'm anxious to see Skelly get back and dominate, and seeing him again at Oakland in the fall.
Nice. And my wife has asked me twice recently, when are we going to go to this hot springs town? Because she
is that how she said it?
Yeah, you started talking about it.
Oh, hey, let me tell you what. She's going to like it, I think. There's a lot of little shops and trinkets and the bathhouses and the pancake house and
the
spas and
wait, I'm sorry. Did you say bathhouses?
Yeah, they call it Bathhouse Row. It's been there for 100 years or something like that. And the town has a lot of history. It's kind of like the Saratoga of the South, and it's a national park.
Yeah, that I know.
And a lot of history there with like Al Capone, and a lot of the gangsters used to go down there.
Maybe I'm not exactly clear on what a bathhouse is. I always associate bathhouses with certain behaviors that I perhaps not want to partake in, but maybe.
I know where you're going. No, I don't. That's not the case with these.
Okay.
No, this is, and when you go down there and walk by, you'll be able to tell. There's like restaurants inside there, and it's not a.
Okay. You know what? I tell you what.
A dark corner in an alley somewhere.
While you guys go to the bathhouses, I'm going to check out Rocky's Corner, which I'm very excited about.
Hey, listen, we'll be at Rocky's Corner. We'll get a uppercut, or get some pizza, whatever. They got all the good food. And if you want to place a couple of wagers, we'll have a runner go across the street and make bets for us. But
we can also just bet it on our phones, right? I mean,
well, you can do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing that. And,
listen, the meet is beginning of second week of December, all the way to the Kentucky Derby. So plenty of time to get down there.
When can you go there and you're pretty much guaranteed to have okay weather? It's at the end of the meet, right? Because doesn't it get cold and snowy and icy from the start there?
It's so weird to get ice storms a lot, but it's hit and miss, man. It's hot springs. It's like Saratoga, where you'll get rain, and then it'll be sunny, and then 5 hours later it's pouring. I know it's. If you're talking about the weather, it's relatively. I went down there for New Year's one time, and it was like 68 degrees. It's sunny. You just don't know.
It snows there, doesn't it?
You'll get some snow, but most of the times they'll have like these ice storms, freezing rain that'll collect on the tree branches, and it'll knock down trees.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah, and they get tornadoes. I know Dylan hates tornadoes.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Dylan. I hope Dylan's watching. What a dick! If he calls me today, I'm gonna tell him what a dick he's being.
Yeah, he said. You got the text, or we saw it. He was joking.
You had your run, Justin. It was impressive. Back to reality. Laughing emoji.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Dylan, like what a dick text that was. Like, back to reality. What kind of we're here on the Lone Speed group text, we're supposed to encourage each other. And I'm talking to you. We're supposed to be friends. We're supposed to get along. We're supposed to root for each other. Like everybody roots for you when you're in a contest. What a dick comment.
Yeah, he was doing that little tongue-in-cheek dig on you.
No,
this is the reaction he wanted.
Well, good, he got it. Congratulations.
So they got a big contest. Him and Frank are in a big tournament, right?
Yeah, it's.
I wonder
Yeah,
if they went to the Pamplemousse. Was that last night or is that tonight?
I think Dylan said he's taking Frank tonight instead of last night. They changed
Yeah.
plans, my understanding.
Okay.
All right. Well, I got to listen. I got to go be a husband and a father for a little while.
Yeah.
Not too long. Not too long. But
Well, let's we'll figure out a time to get live on a few of these races later. Get your free NHC contest picks in on horse players, everybody.
yeah, don't forget that. I got to do that too. All right. Well, hey, what time are you done with your thing? Are we going to catch up later?
Yeah, I'll get a hold of you on text. I have to show a piece of real estate later,
All right.
and we'll figure it out.
All right. Sounds good. Later, buddy.
All right, later.